welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another episode of the gaming podcast by Underdog. In this episode, I have a very good friend, Shantanu from Uniplay Digital. Shantanu, एक छोटा सा introduction हो जाए.
Thanks, VAIBHAV. Thanks for having me here. I'm founder of Uniplay Digital. We are currently doing PC and console games, and later down the line, we are looking to get into mobile game publishing as well. And currently, our focus is been Chalice of Souls that we just showcased and announced at IGDC, and probably earlier this last year as well. So our focus right now is going to be completely on Chalice of Souls, and hoping to get that completed in time in the coming
I
year.
I saw the game. It looks really beautiful. खेलने नहीं मिला बस मुझे IGDC में. But we'll talk about Chalice of Souls in a while.
Sure.
But thank you for the introduction, man. What I wanted to know is, and we can discuss on the journey. How did it all start for you in the career space? Like gaming में कैसे है? How did it all start?
So, so I'm doing animations, 3D animation, and this gaming space since 2002. So it's been 22 years now. I used to pick up a lot of freelance and contract work. That time it was very, very, very hard to find. But
But what is like 22 years back? What company कौन सा था? Like you liked.
so I started with Mac, but उससे पहले क्या होता था? There were a lot of companies that were, how do I put it, always looked to get into India.
Understood.
And so what used to happen is there were no gaming companies then. Probably there was one India Games.
Absolutely. दो तीन Nazara, India
Well,
Games, yeah.
Nazara was there. So via, so I knew few people there, through which I got some, starting point. कि ऐसा होता है वैसा होता है. And in gaming, how things are exactly opposite of the movie, or the low poly optimization and things like that. So started getting into that then. And obviously hardware was a very pain point at that time, and running Maya.
Yeah.
There was no Maya, it was Alias Wavefront.
Yeah.
So that was a very hard time that time. But I mean, yeah, slowly things picked up, and uh, started with small things, and then uh, I'm into it right now, so full time.
So this was like start in 2D 3D मतलब 2D animations or directly into 3D.
Into 3D. I used to teach for a while. I was faculty at Mac Framebox, so that was also the time when I got to do a lot of other things apart from teaching. So that helped a lot, to take things in good directions.
Amazing. But then while you were working, kabhi, when did it all start? Like the Uniplay का कीड़ा कहाँ से है?
Yeah. So Uniplay का कीड़ा जो है वो it actually I was in Agni Interactive for quite some time, 2008-9 से लेके I think on and off 2015-16 तक.
Agni still exists?
Yeah, it's going on.
Just for the audience, I think Agni, like correct me if I'm wrong, but Agni did major VFX and all that side for the movies, right?
Yeah,
In the
did
initial
a
years.
lot of stuff. Yeah. We did a lot of work. We did a lot of gaming work. So Uniplay happened because I mean, IPs was one thing that I always wanted to do, and because of which, I mean, down the line you realize that you want to do something, so just started Uniplay. But before that, also there was a lot of homework that needed to be done. How funding works, the biggest challenge that we have today.
Yeah.
So that was at that time there was like I don't think there was funding like what it is today, or even 2 3
Absolutely.
years back.
I think 2017-18 से कहीं वो actually gaming में interest चालू हुआ.
Yeah. So that happened, and then finding out how to get funded was the biggest challenge, uh, but even till today, like, it's very hard to get funded. I mean, nobody knows what the secret is, and everybody has a different criteria,
Yeah,
and different direction that they have for
yeah.
their vision, etc. So
Theses, is so-called theses.
there is no fixed rule for gaming, nor for funding or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean,
But you, how many years did you work before starting Unit? Or Unit Play, by the way, कब start किया?
2017 I started.
Okay,
So before that,
15 years,
yeah,
roughly
before that,
15 years.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, before Uniplay 15 years, so it took a long time.
Yeah, but you also mentioned कि कुछ homework करना बाकी था. Why do you think? I mean, just for the audience again, why do you think it's important to do that homework, to work for somebody else first and understand the landscape and then start? Because a lot of people in India I see today want to jump straight away into starting their own stuff because of the free tools जो available है and all that stuff. But what's your learning?
So learning is this, that yeah, it's very easy to get into the tools and getting like one shot render out, and like
Hmm.
what we see nowadays on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
but you can't apply the same for the entire game. I
Yeah.
mean, and the other question that you asked is, why is it important to learn outside? And then is uh, first thing is, you don't burn so much money of your own, so you definitely join somewhere else.
Yeah.
Second is, obviously, there's a lot of learning. It's very important for to work in a team.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn all the tools in the world, and but if you can't collaborate with other people or work with them,
Yeah.
along with them, it's very hard. And understand tools you learn, everything else you learn, but working with people
Yeah.
is the attitude that matters. So in the end, it comes down to those kind of things, and there will be, to give you an example, there can be two leads, different thoughts. How
Yeah.
do you them? Different people coming into different areas into the gaming field to solve your problem. So I mean, there's just too many things why you should first uh, join somewhere, learn whichever company, doesn't matter. If it's good, it's good. It's bad, it's bad. It's your own experience that matters, and you take that ahead and apply it somewhere else and know what not to do.
Yeah, it's very important at least because tools use करके you rightly said एक snippet एक cinematic एक video बना के then putting it out saying that this thing is coming out like a
Yeah,
teaser and I'll be launching it in a year or two is very easy,
yeah,
but actually majority part of it is I think the beauty of working in a company is you get to learn the production cycle of it,
yeah, yeah. That's
which
very important. I'll tell you one. I can just probably talk here. Everybody knows Chalice of Souls.
yeah.
So this I started thinking about this since 2017.
Hmm.
Today we are in production.
Yeah.
Still, we are trying to figure out what is the best practices
Yeah.
on different mediums for different countries, different. I mean, players. How do they? We still have to still figure it out. I
Yeah.
mean, there are people who have done it, but for us, it's okay. We have to figure it out as we go. So it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not.
Absolutely. But when you started Uniplay, right? How did you actually get into starting the business? Like, for example, in my case, my simple objective was कि मैं हंगामा में गेम स्टूडियो में जब भी बैठा था तो मैं ढूंढता था स्टूडियोज छोटे स्टूडियोज एंड 2010-11 में यू नो इट राइट देयर वर हार्डली 20 कंपनीज दैट यू कैन एक्चुअली नेम एंड
Yeah.
मोबाइल भी था नहीं वो टाइम पे दिस वाज फ्लैश गेम्स एंड
Yeah. Yeah.
सिम्बियन गेम्स राइट तो जब मैं वेंडर ढूंढता था आई वुड फाइंड इट वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू फाइंड गुड क्वालिटी चीप रेट्स एंड vendors who can complete work very fast, right? तो मेरा सिंपल था ऑब्जेक्टिव टू स्टार्ट अंडरडॉग्स वाज टू गो ऑन द अदर साइड ऑफ द टेबल become a become a vendor to these companies, simple. And that's where my first games were. Like, I started making games for Games to Win or Hangama and Zapak. That's it. how did you
Same thing. Like, see, the thing is, you initially, while you're figuring it out, you don't have you need guts to spend money,
absolutely.
and at some point you need more guts to spend more money, which is like so to a bit now, to balance it, you need to earn somewhere.
Yeah.
So services were always a part, and there are like, fortunate to have some really good old friends and good clients
Yeah.
from across the world. So got the chance to do that.
I think for you, working at, again, this is one of the benefits, right? Working at a big company like Agni
Yeah.
would have helped you make a good connects
Yeah.
network.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, so I'll tell you one thing, like, if anybody goes to my LinkedIn profile, so I actually started as a 3D artist, as usually everybody does. So I ended up as a studio director.
Yeah.
So I got to learn a lot of things, including I mean, from producer, production, to handling people.
Yeah.
Handling people is the most difficult,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and then handling money,
Yeah.
uh, and then handling people's money is the biggest other people trouble. So yeah, I mean, so that trajectory is important to understand the entire business, which we're still trying to figure it out, but somewhere we learned something.
Yeah, and I think that's also one of the seeds, right? Because seeds of why you started your own company, because कुछ लोग होते हैं जिनको सिर्फ क्रिएटिव फील्ड में हमेशा काम करते रहना है, लाइक if you started as a 3D artist, there are people who still want to do the 3D work when they are like 20 years experience. They
Yeah,
are happy with the creative side of it, but um, like you said, right, you got into managing people, managing the studio, becoming the studio director. I think that's one of the best ways to grow in your career, and eventually जो सीड की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, because you went and grew in that space and you started managing people, you started managing a studio. It's as
yeah,
good as a small company, right? It's
yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
like, and that's where it helped you to
Yeah,
start Uniplay.
correct. There was actually a time where I had to decide: am I going to go the technical way or the management way?
Yeah,
So
tough,
it's very hard, very
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 tough.
hard, because I used to keep going in circles. Ki, Acha, tomorrow I'll do the Unreal thing.
Yeah,
Parso I'll do this thing.
yeah,
So, but even today, like, I'm doing whatever I can for Uniplay in terms of management side, but on and off, I sit with the guys, the 2D guys, 3D guys, developers, and just thoda whatever I've learned, just try to implement
yeah,
that, because not everybody has seen that,
yeah.
and it's difficult to do hands-on right now, complete. But what not to do is what I know.
Yeah, no, and as a founder, it really helps. As a founder, if you have a skill set,
Yeah,
it really changes the whole game, right? Because you now are at a point where you have 100 tricks in your basket,
yeah,
which these people don't know
yeah,
in that particular space.
yeah,
मैंने ना ये चीज़ इसमें भी देखी है यार, गेम डिज़ाइनर्स जो है ना, like in my studio, it's like there's no there was no ये क्या बोलते हैं उसको, hierarchy, trajectory of growth. People can just, if they are performing really well, they can just grow in one shot, like वैसा. सो मैंने ना ये एक चीज़ देखा था कि गेम डिज़ाइनर्स
mm,
जो नए होते हैं ना, फॉर लाइक 1-2 years, मेरे लिए तो ऐसा, मुझे ऐसा लगता है, एंड बिकॉज आई वेंट थ्रू दैट ग्राफ इन माई करियर, कि मैं गेम डिज़ाइनर 2 ही साल, मैंने 2 ही साल गेम डिज़ाइनिंग किया, उसके बाद आई बिकेम अ गेम प्रोड्यूसर. सो मेरे लिए वो लैडर अच्छा था. और मेरे स्टूडियो में जब मैं किसी को बोलता हूँ ना कि अरे ब्रो तू अच्छा कर रहा है, नाउ यू कैन मैनेज द प्रोडक्शन, यू, ही इज़ लाइक नहीं, मेरे को गेम डिज़ाइन ही करने का है.
yeah. Because they haven't experienced that side yet.
Yeah.
Right.
तो वो, like what do you, like, just from your experience, because again you said ना, वो काफ़ी टफ चीज़ होता है टू डिसाइड बिटवीन दीज टू पाथ्स, कि वो
Yeah.
मैनेजमेंट साइड में जाऊँ या मैं क्रिएटिव साइड में रुका रहूँ. व्हाट इज़ योर एडवाइस व्हेन यू आर एट दिस पॉइंट?
So let's say if I was I have, let's say I am somebody who's had 2 years of game design experience, and you tell me today that, you know what, why don't you why don't you do game production? So for me, I'm like, okay, I have been comfortable here. I'm getting my money, I'm getting my experience, and on the other side, I have production where there's a lot of, I don't know, it's the unknown,
Yeah.
but I have more money. Now, somebody who's more very ambitious would probably just take up that role.
Yeah.
But somebody who's thought through what game design is would always stick to game design, because in the end, you are somebody who's designing the product.
Yeah.
The game production manager or game producer is just executing
Yeah.
that direction.
Yeah.
So for me, that plays an important role. Uh, even today at even Uniplay, like game design, mein, like I am involved. We have lo- right now the entire team is a game designer, because everybody has their ideas. So we work in a scene where scenario where everybody is bringing their idea.
Yeah.
That's there. But to answer that question, somebody who's thought through what game designing is and wants to be in that role.
No, but this is not just specifically for game design. I'm saying in any case, like in your case also, when you were into the creative side, when 3D artist, and then becoming a director, I feel there's one thing that you need to be very sure कि तेरे को सिर्फ ग्रोथ करना है या तेरे को क्रिएटिव साइड संभाल के यू वांट टू बी दैट क्रिएटिव पर्सन. मैं 20 साल के बाद भी वो क्रिएटिव इंसान होके मरना चाहता हूँ.
हाँ, वो है एक्चुअली मेरा वो सीन है. लाइक टुडे आई एम स्टिल डूइंग द क्रिएटिव एंगल्स फॉर एवरीथिंग.
Yeah.
That I cannot leave. I can, I mean, I've stopped coding,
Hmm.
but art is something that is probably for a lot of people inside,
Yeah.
and you don't want to let that go at any cost.
Yeah.
Uh, बाकी का देख लेंगे, but ये नहीं जाने देना है. So yeah, so I think that's that.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about the game, man. Chalice of Souls. How did it all start with the game?
Um, I mean, it was. I mean, I was hunting for uh, ideas to make the first one. By this time, I have done a lot of mobile games, and I am not somebody who's into casual games. I mean, I grew up playing Contra and those Atari cassettes, and also not like whichever cassettes, and so I mean, mobile space was not casual space was not something that I was able to uh, execute well, because I mean it was just one tap and it was not coming to me very naturally.
Yeah.
So my thing was
Yeah,
story.
absolutely. But सबने किया वो
हाँ,
टाइम पे
सबने किया.
हाइपर कैजुअल पैसा
Even
देगा.
we provided a lot of services. Like
Yeah.
we provided a lot of services. Even just yesterday, one project got over which we did for 5 years.
Wow.
Just yesterday.
Yeah.
That was an MMO that we just completed, and that was also live ops that we were doing.
Hmm.
So I mean, they are on hold right now because of scenarios are a little different, challenging, whatever. But yeah, so it started. Keep what should we do next? Something that is narrative. I mean, I think slowly just starting line by line, like story about whom, what do you want to tell? So it started with the. So to be very honest, Chalice of Souls started with something very non-Indian, more American, more Canadian, because eventually when you know that when it needs to be greenlit on Steam,
Yeah.
no Indian is going to buy it.
Yeah.
So, सब बाहर का माल ही आने वाला है.
Very true.
So you think on in those terms, but then I did almost 4 or 5 iterations to get it to what it is right now, to make it purely Indian.
Hmm.
And the story development is still going on today. Like tomorrow, if you come to the studio, story development is still going on, because that is not something that can be closed in a day.
Yeah.
But we know the plot points, we know how to, what's going to happen when at what time. That is fixed. And the story took a while. It took 2017 से लेके even now it's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no fixed time, and it just clicks. Very randomly, it just clicks while sleeping, while having, while playing sometimes. Uh, so I mean, there's no fixed answer to it, but yeah, it's going on.
You always started with Unreal with this game, or
No, always Unreal. I mean, the vision was to keep it as. Uh, so the reason why Unreal was because this kind of a story needed something that can handle that high fidelity graphics.
hmm.
So I worked a lot on Cry Engine earlier.
Okay.
Cry was something that I wanted to go to, but then in between, Amazon sent Lumberyard.
Yeah.
So I tested a lot on Lumberyard, but it didn't go well because we couldn't. I mean, actually in India there were not many people also, and
Th-
to train
that
them.
was, yeah, that was my next question, because when you talk about Cry also, I don't
Yeah.
know how many people actually even know Cry at this point of time.
Ah, yeah. I know. So yeah, I mean that is why Unreal, and Unreal at that time. Uh, so I started with UDK, I think two something or three. Uh, it was a little different than what it is right now, and then came Unreal 4, which made things so simple,
Yeah.
very straightforward. And fortunately, I have team members who've learned professionally Unreal. Uh, Out of India, but now you can learn in India too. I mean, I'm talking about 6, 7 years back. So some of the team members did learn, and I mean, right now that's how, I mean, we gelled, and we knew that this is what it is, what we want to build, and I mean, we stuck to Unreal. Even today, like Unity is, we keep it for mobile games.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm very tempted to go the Unity Unreal way for mobile games, but
But
it's
only if you make like a global title, not in India title. India में तो वो lower end पे फंस जाएगा with Unity
no,
also.
yeah. Like for me, it is very clear that I cannot make for Indian people to buy.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah, and there are very few genres that India also play at this point of time.
Yeah.
Oh, card, RMG, all that stuff. Yeah. But then with the game, right? I think one of the things that a good engine was required is because there is a lot of the game is set in the outside, right? Like not
Exterior.
yeah,
Yeah.
exterior because I saw some footages also, and it's
Yeah.
more of vegetation
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
So this story actually happens in Panchgani,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and for which we are producing some vlog kind of a thing right now.
100% you should.
The marketing team is like I took the entire team for a site visit for them to understand the scale,
Yeah.
what we're trying to do, and I know some places there, I know few people there, so we literally went and we shot everything, like you name it, we had to do that, even the
Yeah.
pebbles and whatnot we've done, even for flora and fauna, insects, those kind of things. So we're trying to get it very close to real experience, but again, problem is optimization when it comes to technicalities. And so eventually you have to decide, you want to tell the story or you want it to be 100% uh, optimized for.
Yeah.
So that is a big challenge.
Yeah.
So that's new thing we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. But um, when are you planning to finish the game?
uh, uh, till December end, my plan was to wrap it up this year end,
No.
but then we, I mean, I publicly I'm saying, but then we want to push it a little more to probably early 2025.
Okay.
Uh, but I have a problem here is because a lot of big titles are being released in 2025. So I have to balance and see what I can do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to take some time.
Yeah. Yeah. What is a reference? I mean, do you play or do you follow any game specifically for this one? Is it anywhere close to any popular game that you've played?
Yeah, I mean, I play on consoles primarily. Console. I mean, relating, if you want to relate this game to another one, I would say like the action adventure of, you can mix with Tomb Raider, Last of Us, the uh, the globalness of, I'm not saying that we'll do something like RD or something that is like far from our reach, but
Yeah.
somewhere we're trying to show some scale of the area that we are trying to do. And I mean, there are a few other games too, like some beautiful games like Hellblade, and
Did you see the trailer of Indiana Jones?
I saw I saw
Damn.
so that that is why we had to say, okay, this is to get even close to that, we need to spend a lot more time on as
Absolutely, absolutely. People
yeah,
don't understand that,
yeah, yeah,
but I'm sure third or fourth game that you make is is definitely going to be
definitely,
as
definitely.
and I think that's where the stage all the developers in India are, right.
Yeah.
Abhi to, like a lot of people were saying up until last year कि India सिर्फ mobile games बना रहा है, and I'm talking about the game development community, not the gamer community. मोबाइल गेम ही बना रहा है इन लोग, कुछ आता नहीं है, ट्रिपल ए बनाओ, ट्रिपल ए बनाओ. हाँ.
Yeah, I know. But you know, very funny thing is, so since 2000, 2018, I'm pitching this particular game to a lot of people and always rejected. Ki, why are you making PC and console game? Make a mobile game.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to make a mobile game. If you want me to do the mobile game, I'll do it, but I can't produce a write a mobile game.
But this is Indian investors you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
That's a big problem, man.
yeah,
Indian investors, majority, I mean, not everybody, but
yeah.
but I think the landscape is changing with that also. I've seen people getting into that side also. They're experimenting on companies.
Yeah, yeah.
But how do you see the landscape changing in terms of, like I said, right? अभी तक mobile पे बहुत सब लोग ही बना रहे थे. Everybody was working on mobile now, but given a lot of things that are coming, a lot of programs coming, do you see Indian developers making a lot of PC console games?
Partly yes, because I mean, I think the benchmark has increased now. I mean, it's very high fidelity thanks to Unreal, and hardware is something that is expensive, but I think people know the in return on investment on good hardware. So that is where the good thing is. But yeah, I think down the line, it will definitely pick up more and more. What is challenging even today is the animations, which is the motion capture system, which is very, very expensive, and sometimes not everybody can afford it.
Yeah.
So that is something that probably, I don't know, some solution can be taken it, but I mean, but I think eventually 2 3 years may it'll the scenario will change. But again, the point is that making one snippet or one video is not equivalent to executing a game.
like
And
like
so
changing your title on LinkedIn saying CEO CEO of
that does
XXX.
not fit at all. But yeah, yeah. Actually, what a lot of people may, I mean, in some smaller companies, I would say, CEO को तो सब करना पड़ता है,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
कॉफी भी बनाना पड़ता है. So
कॉफी झाड़ू पोछा मारना पड़ता है यार.
कभी कभी तो कॉफी मैं ही बनाता हूँ ऑफिस में. अभी क्या करेगा, लोगों को काम करने दो, आराम से हम लोग कॉफी बना लेंगे.
तू काम कर, मैं तेरे लिए चाय बना के लेके आता हूँ.
या तो तेरे को सोना है, थोड़ा सो जा, मैं कर लेता हूँ तेरा काम.
पैर दबा दूँ. नहीं,
So,
बट
but point is,
yeah.
fortunately, people are motivated. They like my. Fortunately, I have a good team, and they know the importance of developing this and actually delivering the product. which is very important,
Yeah.
and they know what's at stake. Uh, I think thanks to IGDC also, that because we did this showcase, a lot of people know the product, the company, and who you are, where you're from. So that makes a lot of difference if the product is right. So if I fail, I know there'll somebody be someone will still be you never know. They'll still be famous for all the wrong reasons, and me too. But at least something happened.
या मतलब अभी आई एम जस्ट सेटिस्फाइड कि पहले ये भी नहीं करते थे ना यार अपन पहले तो वी डिडंट इवन डेयर टू जंप इनटू दिस साइड ऑफ मेकिंग गेम्स राइट छोटे छोटे गेम्स ही बना रहे थे
Yeah,
but at least now there is hope there are conferences that give you that
yeah,
visibility
yeah.
there
In
are
fact, good validation also.
yeah absolutely
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely
I couldn't go to the GDC right now. I'm not able to go.
yeah
But I've had, I shared this demo to a few people. I've got some good validation too. So the point is, keep doing the good work, harder work, better work, and hoping that someday it'll all sync together.
yeah yeah what do you like one a couple of questions actually before we wrap this up right मुझे from a developer point of view because I'm speaking to a lot of people on this side what is your thought on um, something like you know IHP from Sony that has um, initiated like a program which can help few studios build good games and then probably nurture them too. I'll
Yeah,
just give you one line of what I feel. It's probably starting a new culture, which would probably, you know, like for example, if there's one studio where they'll help that studio, maybe that studio has 25 people working with them. Maybe they work for a year or two. They start their own things. So it's like for me, I feel it's a compound effect that would take place in the next 2 to 4 to 5 years in India, where it can set a great culture of making great quality PC and console games.
yeah.
What is your thought?
It is good. I mean, IHP is a great initiative. I mean, I think everybody is looking forward to it, and everybody is hoping for the best. And so, I mean, the point is that yes, I mean, eventually down the line, 2 years, 5 years, considering the if people are actually going to make good narrative long games, then the production cycle is not going to be less than 2 years. So, in 2 to 5 years, 6, 7 years, we're going to have great uh, companies, great products, uh, good people, probably educating other people
Yeah,
uh, how the product is made and how production happens. I mean, that is something that is not taught anywhere. Uh, so that's the key here.
absolutely.
Yeah, good.
All right, um, um, before the end, a few questions that throughout this YouTube journey I've got from people is a lot of people feel कि अगर मैं artist हूँ if I start as an artist it is rather difficult or not possible to uh, to start a good studio in India as a founder because अभी कैसा होता है कि प्रोग्रामर को ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ता that he needs art compulsory in his game right games like Thomas was alone Baba is there's not much of art into it but artist के साइड पे ऐसा होता है कि artist is
Hmm.
artist right he can't code तो what piece of advice can you give to all the artists who someday want to build their own studios not in terms of animation but I'm talking about games because games में programming use होता है right so what is that piece of advice that you can give
I think best is to collaborate. That is the way, unless you can hire somebody, uh, because I mean, then there's no other way to do this. Like the artist may, I mean, how much can you code?
Yeah,
Because I mean, it's not zeros and ones is, and if then else is not something an artist may sit and write full day, but will create a great piece of art. So, I mean, collaborating is the best tool here, or higher, if you can give some stakes, partner, co-founder, banao,
yeah.
whichever way, yeah, it works, whatever works.
And on top of that, just to um, fuel it more, work for somebody else also
Yeah,
over the
that makes
period.
some gives a lot of experience actually.
Yeah,
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 and intern somewhere, like whatever it takes. But sometimes you don't have to create your own company. Sometimes you can just be there and stay there and enjoy the ride till the end.
yeah, yeah,
You,
absolutely.
you don't have to always quit and make your own.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, man. It was great chat, great fun. Do you want to add something? You want to point people to any of your links that you want them to see?
I think currently I'm uh, nothing much except that, I mean, look out for the Steam page. We're still long time away from production, but we're building a team, so definitely keep a lookout on the LinkedIn page for people for openings. We need a lot of people. We're just waiting for things to, you know, internally to settle down for us to get the right people on board
Yeah,
and hopefully have a great team to produce the game.
yeah, yeah. I'll put the links in the description. I'll put the Steam page and your LinkedIn page also.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you once again.
Thanks,
It was damn fun, man. Thank you.
thanks, man. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
everyone.
Bye bye.
One way, one, two, one.